She is a digital marketing specialist who can spin the meanest website around.
And he's host of the TV show Buzz, which features nonprofit organizations receiving marketing makeovers.
Here on Buzz for Good, we talk all things nonprofit, the people they serve and the good they do.
And we talk to creative professionals and provide marketing tips and tools to help your nonprofit achieve more.
That's right.
Buzz!
And greetings, everybody, and welcome to Buzz for Good, where we talk all things nonprofit in Southwest Virginia, the good that they do, as well as the marketing professionals who donate their time and talent to help these nonprofits achieve more buzz. My name is Michael Hemphill. I'm the creator and host of the Blue Ridge PBS TV show Buzz that airs every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on Blue Ridge PBS. And I am joined by my good friend, Carrie Cousins. Carrie.
Hi, I'm Carrie Cousins, Director of Digital Marketing at Lead Point Digital, a marketing agency here in Roanoke, Virginia, and the immediate past president of AAF Roanoke.
AAF Roanoke being the American Advertising Federation of Roanoke, whose people appear on our TV show Buzz, helping nonprofits attract more donors, volunteers, and clients to their cause. We've got a great show today. We are going to be featuring the nonprofit organization St. Francis Service Dogs, which we just turned in to Blue Ridge PBS. It will air on September the 21st. And my good friend Carrie here was the one who donated her time and talent to help at St. Francis. She is a passionate dog lover and trainer herself, and she donated her time to help St. Francis with their Barks and Rec annual fundraiser, which takes place in April. It's going to be a great episode. Looking forward to that. Carrie, what else have you been doing nonprofit-wise of late?
Well, since we're talking about dogs,
Indeed.
I have been working with the Roanoke Outside Foundation and the Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge Cyclocross race that's happening here in Roanoke on September 17th and 18th to put on a brand new event here that's called Doggy Cross.
Okay.
It is a super fun take on cyclocross. If you know anything about cyclocross, people on bikes ride their bikes around and over and through all kinds of obstacles. So Doggy Cross follows that same model, and you do it with your dog. It's family friendly, so you and your kids can do it with your dog. But here's the trick. Your dogs don't do the tricks. Your dogs watch you do the tricks.
Oh, that's lovely. Okay.
So it'll be a ton of fun, and it's a fundraiser for Angels of Assisi as well. So with each registration, 50% of the proceeds will go to Angels of Assisi, and $1 from every beverage sold during Doggy Cross will also get donated.
That's lovely. All right, so that's September 17th.
September 17th.
And where?
It is at Fallon Park here in Roanoke. So the cyclocross event will be going on all weekend. Doggy Cross is on Saturday morning.
Okay.
You can find everything on the website, gocrossrace.com. And I highly recommend you check it out. The whole weekend is a ton of fun. Cyclocross is made for a good time, so it's super spectator friendly. With Doggy Cross in particular, we encourage you to dress up. There's a costume contest too. So come out, plan to have a good time. You can stay all day. You can see some of the best bike racers in the world right here in Roanoke while you participate and have a good time.
Now, are the bike racers, are they going on streets or are they off-road?
It's off-road. So we actually have one of the only permanent cyclocross courses in Virginia right here in Roanoke. So if you've ever been to Fallon Park, you can probably see the outline of bike trails over there. And if you're familiar with the footprint, there's that big staircase that's built into the side of the hill. The riders actually ride the course, hop off their bikes, put their bikes on their shoulders, run up those stairs, get back on their bikes, and keep riding. It is so much fun to watch.
That sounds spectacular. So as part of that, then, at the same Fallon Park, there's the Doggy Cross.
Correct.
Okay, and more information about that one more time is?
gocrossrace.com.
gocrossrace.com. And 50% of your registration will go to Angels of Assisi, as well as $1 off of every beverage. And Angels of Assisi is what, for those who don't know?
So Angels of Assisi is a shelter here in Roanoke. They bring in animals who have been abused or mistreated or just don't have homes, and they help find new placements for those animals. I have a cat myself who came from Angels of Assisi. So they are a great pet-based organization who are doing a lot of amazing work here in the community.
And they also provide, I believe, free veterinary services for these strays that come in.
Correct. Free and low cost.
Free and low cost. Lovely. So that's fabulous. Now, that's Angels of Assisi, which is a very different organization than St. Francis Service Dogs. St. Francis Service Dogs, again, which we're featuring on September 21 on Buzz, on Blue Ridge BPS. St. Francis Service Dogs provides highly trained dogs for people of all walks of life who are suffering from some significant disabilities. On our episode, we went and interviewed one gentleman from Northern Virginia, 37 years old, with cerebral palsy. Another woman who lives locally in Rockbridge County who has a genetic disorder. They're an extraordinary organization, and we are going to play some of those interviews later on in this show. So to stay connected with us, you can go to our website, buzzforgood.com. That's buzz, B-U-Z-Z, 4good.com. We are also on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at Buzz for Good. And new to our portfolio is our TikTok channel, which I'm still looking for someone who is familiar with TikTok to provide some marketing expertise, not only for all those nonprofits out there looking to dabble in that space, but for me personally, because I'm trying to gain a foothold in this very strange platform for me. But anyway, it's been fun kind of getting used to that on TikTok at Buzz for Good. All right, we've got a great show for you today. We are going to start off with an interview that I had earlier this week with Lori McAnally, a good friend of mine who is a professional grant writer, and she is going to share some tips and tools for nonprofit organizations and really anyone who is in need of a grant to further their mission on how to be successful in that. Carrie, speaking of nonprofits providing help, is going to offer my favorite part of the show, the no budget marketing minute, and what nonprofits can do for little to no budget to attract more folks to their cause. I'm also going to share with you some audio from our next Buzz TV show that is airing on September the 21st on Blue Ridge PBS. And that episode will be featuring St. Francis Service Dogs, a remarkable organization. I look forward to sharing some audio from that TV show with you shortly. That is the kind of first of many episodes that we are currently have in production. Next up in October, we are going to do an episode on the West End Center, summer and after school program for children throughout Roanoke. In November, we are going to do an episode on Friends of the Blue Ridge as it seeks to host the first ever Blue Ridge Jamboree at the Jefferson Center on November the 5th. That is going to feature the music of Doc Watson at 100 with such musical luminaries as Jack Hinchelwood, Wayne Henderson, Jack Lawrence, and T. Michael Coleman. And so you can find out more about that at blueridgejamboree.com. Again, that's November 5th at the Jefferson Center. Following that episode, we're going to do one on Boys and Girls Clubs of Southwest Virginia. And then in partnership with the Roanoke Cultural Endowment and City of Roanoke, we are working on 2 episodes that will air in early 2023, one on Roanoke Public Schools arts programs, and then another on arts and economic development in the city of Roanoke. Speaking of Roanoke Cultural Endowment, I want to thank our sponsors of this show, Roanoke Cultural Endowment, which works to provide a long-term funding solution for Roanoke's many arts and cultural organizations, and more at roanokeculturalendowment.org, as well as Freedom First, where people bank for good, more at freedomfirst.com. Speaking of sponsorships, I'd like to toot our horn a little bit and just let you know that Buzz for Good, really kind of out of appreciation of my background as a journalist at heart. I was a reporter with the Roanoke Times 25 years ago, hard to believe, but just such a rewarding career there as a reporter, and then later as a columnist in the New River Valley area of Roanoke Times' coverage. just big believer in the role that journalism has, and especially responsible journalism. We have less and less of that these days, it seems, with all the people yakking it up on TV, whether you're watching CNN on one extreme or Fox News on the other. We are in dire need of kind of more just presenting of facts that help us be better informed as a society. And so to that end, I've become just a huge supporter of Cardinal News, which is an online news source providing news and information about things important to Southwest and Southside Virginia. You can find them. It's a free publication online, cardinalnews.org. It's a nonprofit news source, and so Buzz for Good is now a sponsor of Cardinal News, as well as WVTF Radio IQ, the local NPR affiliate. So I just want to thank them for the work that they do, and we're honored to be a sponsor of both those organizations. Next week is a pretty big week in the Roanoke and Blacksburg, New River Valley communities, and that is Game Changer Week. And you, as Director of Marketing at Lead Point Digital, Carrie, are kind of responsible for a lot of the publicity and promotion surrounding Game Changer Week. What is Game Changer Week?
So Game Changer Week is essentially a community source event with things happening all over Blacksburg and Roanoke to highlight the technology ecosystem, the thinkers, the movers and shakers, the ideas, and the entrepreneurs that are all coming together to share the technologies coming out of our region. It's a pretty amazing lineup right now. We have more than 50 speakers with 50 different events that are everything from workshops to networking events to luncheons to an amazing block party that's going to happen on Thursday afternoon that's free and open to the entire community.
Okay. And that's at the Virginia Tech Corporate Research Center.
The block party is at the Virginia Tech Corporate Research Center.
We'll talk about some of the partners that are coming together to put on Game Changer Week.
So the primary partners that are really working to do this are the Virginia Tech Corporate Research Center and the Roanoke Blacksburg Technology Council. They've really been at the forefront of leading the charge to put this event together. Okay. It's coming together in a series of sessions that happen each day. So Tuesday, most of the events are actually happening in Roanoke, and there is a deep dive into biotechnology. Mm-hmm. So if you want to learn anything about biotech, Tuesday is your day. There are half a dozen events scheduled throughout the day Tuesday in multiple locations in Roanoke, including a happy hour if you just want to come out and network with some of the movers and shakers in biotech on Tuesday afternoon.
Nice. And I imagine the Fralin Biomedical Research Institute is a major mover in that.
They are a major mover in that. And the keynote talk on Tuesday will be from Dr. Michael Friedlander. So it's a can't miss day if you are interested in anything happening in the world of biotech. The full schedule is online. You can find it on the RBTC website or the Virginia Tech Corporate Research Center website.
Okay, and the RBTC website is rbtc.tech. Correct. rbtc.tech. All right, wonderful. Well, looking forward to that. And we bring that up because what's happening in Game Changer Week is not only featuring all the work that Roanoke Blacksburg region is doing in the area of technology and biotech, but it's really about featuring the resources also that are available for anyone who is in this entrepreneurial space. Organizations such as RAMP, the Regional Accelerator and Mentoring Program that provides a wealth of resources for people who want to try to get a startup business off the ground. And I bring that up because on today's show, we're going to try to provide something similar for nonprofits. And nonprofits could certainly use all the expertise that they can get in order to make themselves more attractive to potential funders and partners. And so to that end, we're going to be featuring a conversation that I had earlier this week with my good friend Lori McAnally. She is the owner and operator of a professional grant writing business called Write On. That's Write, W-R-I-T-E, on. And you can find her on LinkedIn. And so we're going to get to that conversation in just a little bit with my good friend Lori McAnally. She's done grant writing for organizations throughout Southwest Virginia, including some grant writing for Buzz for Good and helping us underwrite some production costs for 2 episodes that we are currently working on, one being the St. Francis Service Dogs episode that is airing once again on September 21st on Blue Ridge PBS, and then the next episode that we're working on, which features the West End Center in Roanoke. All right, well, it is my pleasure to welcome my good friend Lori McAnally, owner of Write On, a professional grant writer, to Buzz for Good. Hey.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here, and thanks for helping nonprofits with the all-important grant. I think about nonprofits and how they get funded, and a lot of times it's individual contributions and corporate sponsorships. And then there's that, what can oftentimes be an all-elusive grant.
Yes.
And so, over your experience, you've been doing this for years and years and years. What's been the most exciting or rewarding grant that you've been a part of?
I think if I had to think of one, it would be during COVID, because of course everything blew up
right
in COVID, and it kind of changed the entire landscape of seeking funding, and in some ways it was falling from the sky.
Depending on the nonprofit that you're
Yes.
supporting, yeah, right.
But this was a very interesting project where we were building a program basically from nothing to complete fruition of a mobile grocery store.
And this is while you were at Feeding Southwest Virginia?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it was an opportunity came up where it was a competitive grant to find for COVID funding for food distribution.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a very short time frame to put that together. So it was very intense, and it was very, very fast paced.
Yeah.
And we were basically, having to build this from. It was an idea that had been in the ether for a while, but to pull it all together and to get the the financial documentation that you needed, and the metrics, and to put all of those pieces together in a short amount of time, it was intense, but it was very exciting, and then to get the award for it was fantastic.
How much was that, and what did it provide again?
It was over $500,000.
Wow.
And it was for a mobile grocery store.
Okay.
So a refrigerated truck that would take groceries out to food deserts, quote unquote, where people do not have easy access to a grocery store.
Yeah.
Because often food insecure folks, they don't have a car to transport them to the store. They're in a neighborhood where a grocery store is not in walking distance. So there was a great need there.
And plus, at that time, we were really being discouraged from even going into public spaces.
Yes.
And so having a grocery store come to your home or to your church was a huge blessing.
Yes, yeah, because it's outdoors. The store itself, it's on wheels, but everything comes out, and you're in an open parking lot situation. So it made a lot of sense.
So what made that such a rewarding experience for you personally as a grant writer?
I think, well, besides from the human aspect of just knowing that you were going to be serving this need, just the kind of adrenaline of just being able to have a team pull together and to create this. It was a very creative process, and sometimes that's not always the case when you're doing a grant, especially if you're writing grants for programs that are perpetual and are kind of, I don't want to say run of the mill, but that you're just used to writing the...
Right. It's the same every year. There's one particular part of your budget that gets filled by this particular grant, and so you just have to kind of go through the motions to get that same amount of funding. Whereas this, something new, exciting...
Yeah. And you didn't know, you don't know whether you're going to get it at all, how much of it are you going to get. So that was a thrill.
Excellent. Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. Once again, I am joined here on Buzz for Good by Lori McAnally, my good friend and professional grant writer who owns and operates Write On. That's WRITE on. You can find her on LinkedIn, Lori McAnally. That's with McAnnally. Her email address is also Lori, lori.mcanally@gmail.com. Lori, I've got to thank you for having helped me secure a grant from the Louise Lester Foundation. You scouted it out for me. You helped you wrote the grant for me, and we're actually using funding from that grant to fund 2 episodes of Buzz that we are currently producing, one on St. Francis service dogs. Yay. And the other one on West End Center. And both of those episodes will be airing in September and October on Blue Ridge PBS. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
For a nonprofit, what's the most important thing they need to have in place even before beginning a grant writing process?
So I would say the most important thing is to approach this with having your program or your project in place before you seek the funding. I think very often organizations will find a grant opportunity and they'll just want to jump all over it and
they'll create a project or a program.
Yes.
To justify the grant rather than the other way around, already having a project or program that needs funding, and then they find the grant that fits it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that just creates it just creates a very stressful, tense environment, and you're kind of scrambling because you're trying to fit into the box, and that's just not the way it should work.
Yeah.
And I know it's very tempting.
Absolutely.
It's very tempting when especially you're getting notifications in your email or you're hearing from other organizations, oh, hey, check this out. But if it doesn't align with what you're doing, and if you don't already have something in place that fits that bill, then that's just, you're going to be spending a lot of time on something that's probably not going to have as much of a chance of coming through as if you were prepared on the front end.
A little mission creep by the organization.
Yes.
Can result from that.
Yes.
And you want whatever program you're creating, you want it to sustain itself. But if it's just being tailored to fit this one particular grant, well, when that grant runs out and there's not an opportunity for renewal, the program's going to die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so many organizations need, general operations. And if you're getting this opportunity where you have to create a program or a project for this funding, it is not increasing your bottom line at all, because you're going to create this program, you're going to put this grant funding towards that, and then in the end, so all you've really done in essence is just create a lot of work for the organization. Not to say it wouldn't be a worthwhile project necessarily, but if you're looking to forward your mission and stay solvent financially.
So it's really just speaks to the importance of having a compelling, viable mission statement out of which a project or a program that your nonprofit really cares about comes about, and then securing the funding for it, whether it's through a corporate sponsor or a group of individual donors, or in our case here for today, that grant.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So finding that, and then from there, obviously the data is important. For the metrics of what you're going to be doing, how many people you're going to serve, how you're going to go about collecting the data to determine how successful the project was to report back to the funder. But there's also part that you got to speak to the heartstrings about as well.
Yes.
Is there one that's more important than the other as far as the brain facts versus the emotional?
That's a really good question, because I think it comes to that magic little balance of the stats and the data are super important, but you also have to sprinkle in that human element of to let these potential funders know what the story is behind these people that you're serving.
And so how do you do that? Is that front and center?
It can be tricky, especially if you're dealing with a grant application where you've got like maybe a 300-word limit.
Sure.
Where you've got these really tight limits and you've got to try to say everything you need to say in a small space. It just comes down to you've just got to be really concise and get your facts in. You got to get all the pieces that they want to hear. It's kind of like, if you're watching a figure skating routine and they need to do this triple and they need to do, nice. You got to get all the elements in, but you also have to put a little bit of art in it. You've got to make it.
Yeah. Well, I love how that's a great analogy. So, but as far as in researching that as the grant writer, you've got to be able to have access to those stories.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's sometimes some organizations are great in having a lot of annual reports and different documentation where they have collected these stories, where you're actually getting like the voice of these people that they're serving. That's very helpful. If you're working directly for the organization and you are able to somehow go to a site, go and see what they're doing in action, and get a chance to talk to the people for yourself, that's the best, to be able to actually have a conversation, or even to just observe and see what's going on. Because there's no substitute for that.
Yeah, right. I mean, the facts are all important, but I think every storyteller will tell you that it's the emotional side of things that's really going to sell the story.
Yeah, absolutely. And to see that even for a little bit for yourself as the writer, then that just kind of, gets infused in what you're saying.
Once again, joined here on Buzz for Good by Lori McAnally, who is the owner-operator of Write On. That's WRITE on. She's a professional grant writer who has worked for a variety of different nonprofit organizations throughout Southwest Virginia. And most recently, she has helped me secure some funding to produce 2 episodes of Buzz that will air this fall, one on St. Francis Service Dogs and the other on West End Center. Where do you go to look for grants?
That's a really good question. There are lots of great resources. Unfortunately, a lot of the databases come with a subscription price.
Right.
But
is it worth it?
Yes, but with a little bit of an explanation to that. It is definitely worth it, at least for a couple of months. It's a high price tag. A lot of these are about, they're a couple $100s a month. Most of them have the option of paying per month so that you don't have to do a yearly contract. I think it's absolutely worth it to do it for a month or two to just search and see what's out there. It at least gives you a starting point. Yeah. Because, there's just, it's an overwhelming number sometimes of what comes at you at first. And you have to, of course, weed through and see what you're actually going to align with. But
which is great because, there are so many foundations out there. So many families who are philanthropic and want to give back, create some kind of foundation or fund after so-and-so passes away.
Yes.
But you may not know about that unless you subscribe to one of these.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might be thinking, you just know the big name ones, like the Ford Foundation or whatever, but it's, national ones like that can be so incredibly competitive, and you don't maybe realize at first what you have in your own backyard.
Right.
The family foundations are a great resource for local nonprofit funding.
Well, because oftentimes they're probably already familiar with your work.
Exactly.
As opposed to you having to kind of justify that to this, outside organization.
Yes.
And are more inclined to support it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Foundation Directory Online is a paid subscription, but you can, for here locally at the Roanoke City Library, you can access that free at the main library. During COVID, you could access it remotely, which was fantastic.
Yeah, I took advantage of that as well. Going to the Roanoke City's public library website and going down, you could just search for all sorts of grants.
It was wonderful.
So that's no longer the case?
They have gone back to on-site access only,
okay.
Which still, you can take a trip to the main branch.
Right.
And I would bet money that most library systems offer similar access.
And that's called Foundation
Directory Online.
Okay.
It is part of Candid.org.
Okay.
You can get a subscription, not a subscription. You can register with Candid for free, and with that you can at least search 990s, which 990s are a great resource for finding foundations in particular, and especially things that are local to you.
How so?
You can search by zip code.
And by 990, for those who don't know what it is.
The 990 is the income tax, the federal return that all nonprofits have to file.
Right. Every year.
Yes, every year. And So with a foundation's 990, you're able to see how much they donate in a given year. Most of the time you can see a list of the grants that they awarded, and the amounts to each, so you can see the focus of their giving.
Okay.
You can see who's on their board of directors. There's a lot of great information there. And so you can search obviously by name. If you know a particular name that you're looking for, you can search by state. You can search by zip code if you go deeper in, and that can be a great way to find who's right around, who is close, who's here that would know, who would know of what I'm doing possibly, or
Okay.
You can even maybe find a personal connection through who's on their board.
Okay.
It's a great way to try to get in the door with some smaller local.
Gotcha. And you can look up 990s through.
There are a lot of ways to view a 990 online, but Candid is the most user friendly and the most searchable.
Okay.
So that's my go-to.
Gotcha. All right. So you've identified the grants, and then is there a particular? We've also mentioned how you need to actually have a program or project in place, prior to seeking out a grant.
Yes.
Is there anything else that, from just a writer's perspective, that someone needs to know before embarking on a grant?
I think you need, if you're a writer who loves creative writing, and it's probably doesn't seem like the most attractive task to take on, because there are other elements. There's the financial element. There's there's a lot to it besides just writing the narrative, which as a writer, that's to me the fun part. I'm using the term fun loosely, but it's
Right.
it's the part that's most comfortable for me. But you also have to be able to assemble the budget information, and if you can't, you might not have that in your skill set, but you have to at least know where to go to get that information. If you've got you probably have a financial person on staff, or at least can consult with somebody to get your budget for your overall organization budget, most importantly, but also project budgets for whatever particular thing you're going to be
Yeah.
seeking funding for.
A lot of pieces to the puzzle.
Yes. Yeah. And in a larger organization, obviously you have different departments working together on that, but in a smaller nonprofit, it might just be you.
Yeah. Right. Ideally, I wish more foundations would fund operations rather than just projects or programs, because that's really the big need.
Yes, and that's a question that just comes up a lot. That's what everybody's trying to figure out. How do you get general ops money, especially from organizations who flat out say we don't fund general ops? And there are ways to do it.
There's a little back door that you can do
Yes.
by carving out an administrative cost to the project or program.
Yeah.
As long as that administrative cost is in the existing operating budget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think, people understand, I think for the most part, that you can't run your nonprofit without your operating expenses.
People,
I mean,
yeah.
you're right.
Well, one last shout out here to Lori McAnally, professional grant writer, good friend of mine, who owns and operates Write On. That's WRITE on. You can find her on LinkedIn, Lori McAnally, or you can email her, Lori, LORI.McAnally. That's MCA, 2 N's, A, 2 L's, Y, at gmail.com. Any parting words for a nonprofit that is wanting to embark upon the all elusive grant?
I would say it's completely doable.
Yep.
If I could share one, this might sound a little bit strange, but if I come across an application and it completely overwhelms me and I feel like, how am I going to tackle this?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it helps to just, I'm old school, so print it out, but however you need to deal with it. I print it out, I get a pen, and I go through what I know. Mm-hmm. I just brainstorm, okay, what do I know? What could I put here? What can I do? And it just takes the monster out of it. It's then you feel like, okay, I have some of this. This isn't like the huge, undertaking. It's
Yeah.
big, but I can take this in bites.
It's a puzzle with
Yes.
individual pieces.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you don't know the information, then you maybe write the name of someone in your organization or a place where you
Right.
can get that information. And then it just, I don't know, it just kind of puts it into a package that you feel like you can then deal with,
Yeah.
rather than just panicking at the immensity of it.
Yeah, and making it a team effort. Hey,
Yes.
there's this question over here that you're better suited at answering. Could you write me, 3 or 4 sentences about it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, you need to get out of here because you got to go find more grants for me
do.
to produce more Buzz
I
episodes.
do. I'm on it right now.
Anyway, Lori McAnally with Write On Professional Grant Writing Services. Thank you so much again, not only for coming on today's Buzz for Good, but also just helping me and other organizations throughout Southwest Virginia getting the grant funding that they need to fulfill their missions. So,
Thank you for what you're doing in the community.
well, I appreciate it. It's possible because of people like you. So, all right, talk to you soon.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. Well, as I mentioned at the start of the show and several times since, our next TV episode of Buzz airs September the 21st on Blue Ridge PBS at 7 p.m. And that episode will star St. Francis Service Dogs, an organization that is headquartered in Roanoke but provides highly trained service animals to families throughout Virginia. And so I wanted to play some audio from that episode just to kind of tease it a little bit, and hopefully it will inspire you to tune in to Blue Ridge PBS on the 21st at 7 p.m. to watch our show on St. Francis Service Dogs. After my little introduction that you'll hear, we're going to feature portions of interviews that we had with the executive director of St. Francis, Cabell Ewell, followed by one of the founding board members, Dr. Mark Finkler, who is a veterinarian who donates his time and skill to help take care of these just remarkable four-legged caregivers. Then following their voices, you will hear then voices from other folks who are served by St. Francis, including, surprisingly to me, inmates at Bland Correctional Center.
A dog may be a person's best friend, but at least in the case of my dogs, when it comes to the walking and the feeding, the grooming and the poop scooping, it's a friendship that can take a lot of work. But for more than 150 Virginians with disabilities, as well as a group of inmates in the state prison, dogs quite literally make life meaningful and possible. On today's episode of Buzz, we are featuring the nonprofit organization that's responsible for raising and training these exceptional four-legged caregivers. And we are providing a marketing boost for its big annual fundraiser to make it even more, wait for it, positively phenomenal.
So St. Francis was founded in 1996 by Carol Willoughby and Sherry Spell, two women in the Roanoke Valley who have disabilities. And they founded St. Francis because they recognized the need for service dogs. First of all, Carol Willoughby had a service dog that she had privately trained for her own use, and it made such a profound difference in her life that she helped Sherry Spell to get a dog for her, and then the two teamed up and founded St. Francis to try to make it possible for more people to have service dogs. It grew from that, literally from their kitchen table, and into what we are today, 26 years later.
It does my heart good to be able to participate and contribute my veterinary skills and training. I help network with other veterinarians, so I'm not doing all the work. I don't see all these dogs and all these puppies, but I've been around long enough. I've got connections with the Veterinary College in Blacksburg, and a lot of the local veterinarians who donate a lot of their time and money to help St. Francis. So, no, I'm here for the duration.
So we serve people with a wide range of physical disabilities, anything from, cerebral palsy to MS, people who have paralysis, people who may be amputees, rheumatoid arthritis, stroke, just a wide range of disabilities. We also work with children with autism. Dogs can be very effective in that case.
There's a tremendous human-animal bond that occurs. Yes, they are working dogs, and when they have their vest on, they're all work. But that vest comes off, during parts of the day and at night. And that dog becomes their friend, and that person is that dog's friend. And this bond is unbelievable, and it goes on for years and years. Truly heartwarming.
I embarked on a trip throughout Virginia meeting the human partners of these service animals. People like Felipe Aquino, a 37-year-old man from Northern Virginia with cerebral palsy, and his mother, Lindsay. In 2009, Felipe received his first St. Francis service dog named Ranger. Following Ranger's death in 2020, Felipe recently received his second dog, Brutus.
Without a dog, when Felipe was before St. Francis dogs, people would see Felipe in his wheelchair and be put off. 1, 2, 3, up! With a dog, they see the dog, and then they see the chair, and they're more inclined to be friendly, to cooperate, to interact. It's a big difference. The thing Felipe asked was that Ranger could pay for things, because Felipe could not. So we would put the money in a plastic bag, give it to Ranger. He would put his paws up on the counter, give it to the cashier. Then they would put the change back in the bag, give it to Ranger, and then he would give it back to us.
Wow.
So this was the one thing Felipe wanted the dog to do.
How was that experience? How was that?
Amazing.
I go everywhere.
You went everywhere with him. And he was a great companion.
Depending upon it's big
He spoke,
and book
very important.
and
Put
thing
put dirty laundry in the laundry basket.
open
Open doors with touchpads.
I pick up one thing.
He picked up the little this little handle would fall off his chair. Give it to me. Woo. Thank you. So what happened was that without a dog, and particularly now because people are fixated on their phones, people would walk into his wheelchair. There was no dog to distract them, and they just didn't see the chair. It became, we would laugh, it became a joke for us. It was truly bizarre. But with the dog, suddenly people see the dog, and then they stop, or they go around you. The dog makes an amazing visual and psychological difference to how people react to somebody in a wheelchair.
Any thoughts on that?
Sorry?
Any thoughts on why?
Because people do it.
Because if you don't know anything about disabilities, disabled people frighten you. They're an unknown quantity. And so you tend to have a negative response. The biggest part of his job is company, being sort of moral support, warm and fuzzy support. That's
On call.
in the car,
On call.
on call.
Yep.
Yes, he's there,
Yep.
keeping you company.
Yep. Yeah. Buddy.
Your buddy,
Yep.
your best friend.
Yep.
Is there any other kind of service or therapy that would come close to what a service dog can provide?
No.
Categorically.
No way.
My name is Blair Thomas. I'm 28 years old, and I'm diagnosed with Melnick-Fraser syndrome. It's a brachial renal disease that I've been diagnosed at birth. It is a progressive condition. It affects my ability to breathe and swallow. It affects my renal function, and I became fully deaf around high school at the age of 16, and I used cochlear implant, and I've been fitted with a feeding tube since the beginning of this year. Koa is my St. Francis service dog. She helped make my invisible disability more visible to the public. She helped bring awareness to my disability. Sometimes I can be a little bit lost with my hearing deficit, and sometimes I can have a little bit of a headache spell that she will alert me to. One of the most interesting cases of my headache spell is she will actually bump her nose against my stomach, and I would go to check my feeding tube and the line is completely empty. It was full of air, and that's when I knew that I needed to add more fluid and give it attention. Before Koa came into my life, it was a little bit scary as far as safety, and it was a little bit lonely. My closest friends and family were afraid if I was going to have a medical episode and not be able to feel it before it comes on. So she has been an extra sense of security and been able to ease everybody's mind. Koa has the ability to go out and get help if I needed help. If I were to be growing up in the bathroom and I can't get up on my own, Koa will go out and get assistance I need. With Koa, I actually been having less spells. It's almost non-existent. It's amazing what Koa does for me.
Because of her hearing loss, Blair has cochlear implants that require expensive batteries she has to carry with her. Whenever she misplaces the batteries, she can activate from her phone a beeper in the pack that Koa has been trained to find and retrieve.
There they are! Thank you! Good girl! Good girl! Thank you! Koa is more than just a service animal. She can be off leash, and she provides me comfort at home. She does deep pressure therapy. She's able to cover my legs. She's able to come up onto my bed every morning. She's my alarm clock. And it's just a good start of the day, having a companion, being so excited to spend time with you.
In addition to helping individual families, St. Francis also provides facility dogs for various sites throughout Virginia. During the pandemic, the Virginia Tech Health Sciences and Technology campus noticed higher than normal levels of stress and anxiety among medical students, researchers, and staff. St. Francis responded with Keeper.
And then there's the work that April does every day at Blue Ridge Autism and Achievement Center.
So the Blue Ridge Autism and Achievement Center serves students 2 through 22. We have 3 locations, Roanoke, Lynchburg, and Lexington, and across those sites we have about 100 students. And then we do other services within our community. The partnership with St. Francis started about 10 years ago. Our CEO had a relationship with St. Francis with her son Joshua, and we started working with them, and we got our first facility dog, Deuce. And since then we now have our second facility dog, April, and we actually have facility dog Ginger up in Lynchburg. So we have students with a variety of needs. So we have students who are very significantly impacted by their disabilities, and they work with the dogs to learn how to care for their own pets. So they learn how to walk April. They learn how to safely interact with animals and not be afraid of animals. So she's very patient and calm and kind to allow them to safely interact with her. We have students who are very high functioning, who utilize April to calm when they're starting to get frustrated. She'll go in the classroom and sit beside them to help ease them. And they also utilize her to run into school on time because they have time to see April. So they actually arrive to school early so they can come and lay on the floor with April before they go to class. And they sometimes earn time with April to play games or do things contingent on their behavior at school. So she serves sometimes as a reinforcer because she's such a powerful motivator for our students to do their best work and to interact with people in a polite and respectful way. She just really is such a positive force for our staff and for our students here at BRAC.
And then there is St. Francis's outreach to an unexpected population, inmates at Bland Correctional Center. Started in 2002, the Prison Pup program allows inmates in the honor dorm to receive the privilege of helping raise and train a puppy from 8 weeks until it's time for advanced training to begin. The pups receive round-the-clock care and training, and the inmates receive love, as well as something even more precious, the gift of being a contributing member of society while behind bars.
It's just a wonderful experience, and I'm proud to be a part. I'm proud to be a part of it.
I've actually been in here for 10 years, and it's made a difference in my life because I don't have any kids, and it gives me a lot of chance to be responsible for somebody or something that really looks to me for, support.
I've been down for a while now, and so a chance to get in here with these puppies and do something that is for the greater good and to help somebody else, it's just made me feel more like a person than I have in 10 years.
I think it's awesome just knowing that I'm able to do something that's will benefit somebody on the outside. I said I've been locked up 27 years. So just getting hurt for the first time and having an animal in your cell, it's so much stress off of you, so much relief. It's to see a little tail wagging first thing in the morning or when you leave your cell and come back. It's a great feeling.
My name is Jerry Barnes, and I've been involved with St. Francis for about 5 years. This dog is going to be very special to somebody in some place at some time, and I get to be part of that.
All right, so once again, our next TV episode of Buzz airs September the 21st at 7 p.m. on Blue Ridge PBS, featuring St. Francis Service Dogs. Buzz is actually on every Wednesday night on Blue Ridge PBS. Our goal is to produce one new episode a month, and then the other weeks of the month air our 24 other episodes that we have produced over the last 2 years. New episodes coming up following St. Francis Service Dogs will include the West End Center in October. In November, we are featuring Friends of the Blue Ridge. We're taking off in December while Blue Ridge PBS hosts its annual end-of-the-year fund drive. And then in January, we are back at it with episodes on Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Virginia, as well as an episode on arts and Roanoke Public Schools. And that episode is being conducted in partnership with the Roanoke Cultural Endowment and the City of Roanoke. And then later in 2023, we'll do an episode on art and economic development. Really excited about that one. Well, it is my favorite time of the show whenever I have Carrie Cousins here on the air with me, and that is the nonprofit No Budget Marketing Minute. Where we try to provide nonprofit organizations with a quick little something that is free that they can go ahead and start implementing to just enhance the buzz of their organization. And Carrie, what do you have for us today?
So today I'm going to talk to you about November 29th.
But it's only September, like the first half of September?
But November 29th is a day to circle with a red pen on your calendar.
Okay.
November 29th is Giving Tuesday.
Already, okay.
Giving Tuesday is one of the biggest global nonprofit charitable days that you will ever come across.
Yep.
We've been talking about Giving Tuesday for about 10 years now, and companies all over the world come together to support nonprofits. Individuals all over the world come together to support nonprofits on this day of giving. Giving Tuesday is the Tuesday after Black Friday and the day after Cyber Monday. So it's the unofficial start to the end of the year giving season. So your tip for today is start planning now.
Yes, right. So Tuesday after Thanksgiving, so the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, a lot of shopping. And then there's like Small Business Saturday, and then I think they don't do anything for Sunday necessarily, but then Cyber Monday, and then, okay, let's not forget about all the nonprofits in the world, so we'll call that Giving Tuesday.
Correct.
Okay.
So what you want to do to plan for Giving Tuesday is put your campaign together now. It's using a global hashtag on social media, so it's an opportunity for your nonprofit to get in front of a global audience that day. You might catch new donors that you've never been in contact with before. You might find new audiences for your mission or what you do. So Giving Tuesday really is a great opportunity to get out there and get your nonprofit in front of a wide audience.
I'm sure we will get more about Giving Tuesday moving forward. You were mentioning before we started broadcasting that there was something that happened, or you just had some working with some client that kind of sparked this.
Yeah, so I actually work with a company called GiveWP. They are a donation tool that you can integrate into your website.
Okay.
That make donation forms really easy, let you capture data, let you work with all of the website tools you have available in a single place to capture donations. So they really are spearheading a lot of the information and data out there about Giving Tuesday. They have a workbook that you can actually download to help you plan your campaigns. And that workbook is free to download. So it's an extra tool to help you think about Giving Tuesday and plan Giving Tuesday.
So GiveWP, is that for WordPress?
It is a WordPress tool, yes. So if you want to know more about GiveWP, it's givewp.com.
Okay, fair enough. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for already prompting us to think about Giving Tuesday on November the 29th. All right, and once again, we want to thank you for tuning in here to Buzz for Good. Please, again, stay connected with us on our social media channels at Buzz for Good, as well as reaching out to us on our website, buzzforgood.com. If there is a nonprofit that is near and dear to your heart, please let us know, and we would love the opportunity to feature them here on this show and maybe one day on our TV show, Buzz. You can email me directly at Michael, Michael, at buzzforgood.com. Or again, you can message us through our website or social media, and we will do our best to feature them here on this radio program in the near future. Until then, please continue to be a Buzz for Good in your community, and we will look forward to seeing you back next time here on Buzz for Good.